Good evening, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Be Healed Web Show. I hope you are doing amazing on this Tuesday evening. I am your host, Camille R. Perry, and I am elated to have such an awesome guest that will join us on tonight. But before we get to our guest, I want to let you know a few things. God has been faithful and he's forever faithful, and I'm ever so grateful. So, as we're here in the month of December, the very last month of 2022, I don't know about you, but this is a good time to throw those hands up and say, God, thank you for another day. Thank you for another opportunity. Thank you for blessing me to see towards the very end of the year. And your year might have started off rocky. Your year might have started off very troublesome, very concerning. Maybe it was health, maybe it was financial, maybe it was relational, whatever. But here, God has allowed us to be together in the 12th month. And listen, while the blood is running warm in my veins, I'm still going to tell him thank you. For the rest of my life, I will be telling the Lord thank you because he's been so good. So I hope you all have been blessed. I hope you enjoyed your Thanksgiving. I hope you got a chance to really set some time away and reflect on the goodness of God in your life and all that he's done for you. So if that's the case, you can throw some hearts, throw some things in the chat, and we're going to go ahead and get started on tonight. I want to let you know about my awesome guest. I have been blessed to know some amazing people who know some even more amazing people who know even more and more amazing people. And listen, it's a blessing and a privilege to have relationships. And so I know a woman who is an awesome brand manager. Her name is Amanda Ramsey. You all saw her on my 100th episode. And she is the CEO and founder of Hey Sugar, which is a brand management company. And listen, I'm telling you, she gets the job done. She has excellent insight. She knows how to pull information out of you. She knows how to bring you to this next place. And I would love for you all, if you're looking to expand the brand of who you are, maybe you want to know how to position yourself for that promotion, or you want to position your business, position maybe yourself for a greater success, contact Amanda Ramsey. And you can do so by going to info@heysugar.com, okay? Or go to heysugar.com, www.heysugar.com, and you can find all that you need. Set up an appointment, and matter of fact, let her know Camille sent you, okay? All right, with that being said, here's another person who has benefited from Hey Sugar, who has benefited from the amazing tools and resources that Amanda has. And her name is Nita L. Watson, and I'm so elated to have her. Let me tell you a little bit about Nita. Miss Nita is not only a licensed marriage family therapist, but she's also a certified athletic coach. So when it comes down to boxing, kickboxing, that athletic training, she does it all. I'm excited because she already told me she's gonna teach me how to do some things. So y'all be on the lookout, okay? But let me tell you, she's a Pomona native. Her gym that she owns is and runs and operates daily. It's called the Self Care Lab over in Montclair. And listen, there's more that happens because her focus is taking the physical, the boxing skills, and looking at it from a place of training and being very concerned about the mental health and wellness of all people, especially those of color, in areas that often are in the margins of life. She's doing an amazing job. And I'm honored to have her here on the Be Healed Web Show, where she's going to talk about her life being an experience. So go ahead and welcome her in the chat, Miss Nita L. Watson. Hi, Nita.
Hey, Miss Camille, how you doing?
I'm doing good, doing good. Listen, how are you? How's things been?
Today is cold, so I'm trying to adjust during this season because the kids know when it's cold and almost 40, honey, I'm not trying to work out. I'm trying to work you out so I can come back inside and drink my coffee. So today has been a very busy day, but I've been very well. I have been very excited to be in this new location, to be in this new city. But today I'm doing all right. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, yes, yes. I'm so glad to have you. Let's just jump right in.
Let's do it.
Pomona native, grew up, repping, P Town, you sugar
All the
free,
way.
DJ
Yeah.
Quick, listen.
Yes.
So tell me about why you stated you're this season of your life as an experience. What has been your experience in this particular season?
Miss Camille, you ever had God just do things and you had a plan and you have it all written out? You got a spreadsheet, you
Hmm.
have a whole blueprint of where you see yourself, and all of a sudden the Lord goes,
Right.
and this is me. But God, hold on, bro. I had a plan. And he said, I
Right.
know. So I have gone through journey after journey after journey. So I have no other option but just to lay myself down and say, okay, Lord, that's been
Right.
the experience. It's just embracing the fact that what I thought was going to be was not it. So I'm just
Hmm.
sitting back and trying to enjoy the ride because this ride has been rough. So that's why I have called it an experience.
Listen, we can park right there for a moment because you said, "Have you ever had plans?"
Have you had plans? Yes. Yes. Somebody told me the other day, they said, Coach, if you ever wanted to make God laugh, tell him your
Yes.
plan.
Right.
And I could have slapped them like I already did. So I don't need you to
Yeah.
reiterate and tell me what he's not going to do. So I think
Yeah.
I'm learning just to sit back, trying to, right? And allow him to do that only what he can. But I think that's a realm of humility. I had
Yeah.
to be broken, but sometimes they
Mhm.
say gracefully broken because
Yeah.
broken can really tear up your mental health. But I think
It
the Lord has really been gracefully breaking me. And I think that's been the experience that I had is allowing him to break me because it don't feel good. It does not feel good. But yes, it's
no,
been
it doesn't feel good, but it's purposeful, right?
yes.
And I'm hearing you, and of course, scriptures are popping into my mind, and I know the listeners already know where I'm going with this. Jeremiah 29:11.
Say
You
it.
know, for I know the plans that I have for you, says the Lord.
Mhm.
Right.
That I
So,
have for you.
right.
Not you have for you, that I have for you. We forget to read that part. Mhm.
Right. So
Mhm.
when we break that down and understand that, oh no, 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 he has plans,
Mhm.
right? And
Mhm.
last time I checked, Teddy Pendergrass said our arms are too short to box with him. So,
And I'm
you
a boxer, and this is me. Square up. And he like, these ain't the hands you want. And I'm like, okay, okay.
he was like, have you checked my handiwork in the Old
That
Testament?
part.
Have you
And he checked my lineup, and I'm like, nah, I just. But like I said, I'm looking at the experience, and the experience is because, especially as Black women, we are
Mhm.
in charge. I don't
Yes.
care if you work at Walmart. I don't care if you work at AM, PM. If that's your job, don't let you be a supervisor. Nobody can tell you anything about leadership.
Yes.
Sometimes you have to be broken in order to be told what to do, especially as a Black woman, especially as a believer, because sometimes our narcissism, undertones of narcissism, gets in the way. So it's like,
Yes.
okay, God, I've made the plans for my kids, for my business, for my spouse,
Mhm.
and this is what
Mhm.
I want to do for me. Hashtag self care.
Right,
Hashtag
right, right.
care, right? And God is like this, keep the party going. I'm like, ah. So let me sit back and enjoy this experience. Let me
Yeah.
see where he's going to take me. Let me just be quiet. How about that? Let me just shut up. Let me
Yeah.
just shut up and let him do the talking so that way I can be quiet so that way I can hear him. And I think
Yeah.
that's been the hardest part of this experience, Miss Camille, is just shutting up
Yeah.
because I talk for a living. So it's kind of like now I have to sit back and be the student and listen. I think that's been the experience
Yeah.
because it has gracefully humbled me. It has gracefully broken me. Doesn't feel good, but I
No.
could not imagine God in this season, on this journey, and having this encounter and this experience. So I am on a full experience right now.
I like that. And greater is coming, right?
Receive that.
Um, the what is that scripture over? I believe it's in Second Corinthians that eyes haven't seen and ears haven't heard, neither has it entered into the hearts of men the good things
Mhm.
that God has in store for those who love Him. You know,
Yes.
when we understand that, and I can say, joining along with you, I
Mhm.
look at Joseph's journey. You know, Joseph was given dreams as a young child, and he saw those things, and those dreams did come true.
Mhm.
But it was 22 years later, and that was from a pit to a palace to a prison back to a palace. Like, there's so many iterations in life that really should bring us great comfort.
Yes.
That when you mentioned about being gracefully broken, I could imagine how he must have felt sitting in that jail, feeling, forgotten, feeling unseen, unheard, but also remembering
Yes.
the dreams that he had
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
knowing that they only could come from God.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, what do you do when God has put something in you and you know it's not of you, but it hasn't happened yet? What do you do?
Miss Camille, let me tell you something. It was 2014. I had just lost my corporate job.
Mm,
And I needed something to keep me going because I was so angry. I felt betrayed. I felt all these mixed emotions. And I ended up finding a Groupon. Remember that?
oh, yes.
At a Groupon for a boxing club on the north side of Pomona. And the class was $17. And I'm like, oh, I want to do it. I need to get some aggression out.
Mhm,
And I go
mhm.
to the class. I'm a street kid. I grew up in the project. So it's like, I could do this. I can fight. My first day, I do what most Black people do. I squared up. So you know how we do.
Yes, yes.
Do
All the
all
wrong
that.
posture.
And that man hit me so hard that I threw up in my headgear with my mouth guard on.
Ooh,
And then, like Muhammad Ali, Miss Camille, baby, he stood over me and waited for me to get up. That's
wow.
what gracefully broke me. Because guess what? I went in there thinking I knew what to do.
Mhm,
Because this is what I do. I street fight all the time. I'm a ball player. I'm fighting on the court. I'm doing all these different things.
mhm,
I was gracefully broken. And he said, if you really want to learn, let me teach you
mhm.
structure. So he
Okay.
switched my around and he showed me how to place my hands up. Then he
Mhm.
showed me movement. I still wasn't as broken back then because I had the know it all spirit. You know how we do, we Black women.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I know how to do it. This is what we do.
Mhm,
But it took for me to be beat up and then embarrassed for me to
mm,
realize you have to be broken to learn this. And so
mm.
as I started boxing, I started realizing that it takes a lot to box.
Yeah.
It's not just the street fight stuff that we think that we see online. It's a full body experience. And I
Mhm,
think that's what the challenge was, Miss Camille, because everything has always come so natural to me until a
mm.
freaking 9-year-old taught me how to jump rope. I was so angry because I could not get it. And he said, Miss, hug yourself and then give some love away. Crystal,
Oh,
9. My grandmama said the Lord uses babies in food.
fools. You know it. You know it.
Hug yourself, give
Yeah.
some love. That's 2014. That's the start of my gracefully being broken. You understand what I'm saying? I'm
Yeah.
still, it hasn't been 22 years, okay?
Yeah.
But it's been a long journey doing
Yeah.
this. And in my heart and in my head, Miss Camille, I just thought I was going to be rolling 2, 3 Mercedes. I got this house. I got this person. I own 9 of these gyms until I had to empty my own trash, clean my
Mhm.
own restroom, wash my own towels. You understand
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Teach the class, train the youth. It was all of these mixed things that God said, you thought you was going to be big, but let me remind you what it costs to be
Yeah.
big.
Yeah.
It's humility.
Yes.
So it
Yes.
took this man to punch me in the chest. Now these look huge, right? I know y'all, they do. But these is little, Miss Camille. He hit me so hard in my little raisins. I wanted to beat this man alive, but I was in so much pain. Girl, I couldn't even do nothing. But it was
Oh,
my fault because I went in there with the,
right. You
and
just left yourself open. Just
I,
left just
that's how the enemy works.
yes, left yourself
Put my
open.
hands up like this, and he said, the more you expose yourself,
Oh
the
my,
easier I can attack you.
yeah.
That and that kid telling me to hug myself and give some love away, I almost started a whole drive-by. I said, if one more person tell me what to do. So I'm looking at this journey. I'm looking at you talking about how long he was in prison.
Yeah.
But we don't go back and realize that he still had to be grateful. He still had to be appreciative. He still had to be graceful,
Yeah.
knowing that he was wrongfully in
Yeah.
prison.
Cute. Yeah. Yeah. Boy, I tell you, listen, I don't know if it's just a preach down on the inside of me or what, but I'm like, this whole episode can preach. Like,
Yes, it can.
uh,
Yes, it
because when we're talking about, coming in, pride puffs you up,
can. Yes.
right? Having this sense of assurance of self
Mhm.
leaves you exposed to the enemy, right? And all these scriptures popping in my mind, how
Say 'em.
God, he resists the proud, but he gives grace to the humble. He does something when we understand that it is in him that we live and move and have our being, we should be able to operate differently. And I love the fact that you're mentioning about, yes, you have these plans and desires and yearnings for, the cars, the home, the relationship, and all these different things. But in you serving in the capacity, you're building such a stronger foundation. So you actually know what type of cleaning you want in your organization. You
Mhm.
know how the towels should be folded in the organization. And
Mhm.
so when Christ would when he was here walking the earth, he always remind people is that not only is a blessing to give than to receive, but it's understand if you want to be greatest among anyone, you have to know how to serve. And I feel like what you're saying is just putting you in position for when the shift happens, you're good. Because you've been able to serve, you've been able to do what
Better
God has
preach.
called you to do.
Better
So
preach.
you can be able to, exude and exert in a different capacity because the table will turn.
That's why I said this is an experience.
Yeah.
Because if I had it my way, I probably would have broke up with God a long time ago. Like, this is not working out, so we're gonna have to go our separate ways.
It's you, not me.
Not black women. I'm evolved. I gotta find myself, self-care. It wasn't until I had to see God snatch this, take this, sacrifice this. You
Mhm.
said you really want to do this, right? Yeah, God, but I didn't think it was gonna be like that. Okay,
Mhm.
I'm gonna remove. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna take her too.
Yeah.
Do you still trust me?
Yeah.
You still an experience? Oh, you
Yeah.
still want to experience? Okay, cool. I think what it is, I had to learn God's love language for me.
Yes. Yes.
I had to learn that being sat down was
Mhm.
not punitive.
No. No.
That was love. It just didn't feel like it. So
Yeah.
I think going back to me saying the experience is me allowing myself to throw my hands up and say, okay. But it's been some years. And I'm like, I wonder if I would have said, okay, 5 years ago, what things would have been different.
Yeah. The right time. God does everything at his appointed time. I was reading that over in First Timothy chapter 2.
Yeah.
It was at the right time that he sent Christ to this earth realm
Mhm.
to ransom us back to him. It was at the right time that we were born. It was
Mhm.
at the right, like sometimes I think it's interesting because we're so finite.
Yeah. Yeah.
All we can do is think back or hypothetical, situations.
Mhm. Mhm.
But he knows, David said, he knows the ways that I take. He knows the path that I'm going to go. He's already factored in every flaw,
Mhm.
every mistake, every sin stain. He knows all of that.
Mhm.
but he sees us to what he's already called us to. He
Yes.
just wants us to get where he's already spoken.
Yes. Yes.
And that is something that I'm learning, sis, daily to God, I want to get to that place.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Because you
mm-hmm.
already spoke it. You spoke from eternity into time. I'm just trying to get there.
You better say it.
Listen, you got me feeling good. Look, I feel like I had a whole workout.
But you know what though? They say, I always say, you know, we hear iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
If it was a butter knife, we couldn't have this conversation. So apparently you must be sharp because you sharpening me and we sharpen each other. But that's that experience.
Yeah. It's
That
definitely an
experience
experience.
means because this time, maybe 4 years ago, you probably would have been able to tell me anything. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't have sat down with you because in my heart of hearts, like, baby, I'm Nita L. Watson. They didn't tell you that, baby. They didn't tell you who I was. Now this is me. Okay, Miss Camille, at 4:30, I will be there. Okay. Anything else, Amanda? Hashtag hey sugar. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm grateful for this season now. Like I
Yeah.
said, it did not feel good. It cost me. It cost me to get to this experience. It cost me to get to this level. But to hear someone else confirm and say, this is why, that's iron.
Yeah.
But you won't be able to know that unless you're on the experience and where you say, I was the butter knife. God
Mhm.
sharpened me. Allow me to sit with other dope women and other dope individuals and other dope people. That takes healing. Like you said, be healed. It takes healing to work with other people. Something I also had to learn was, Nita, it's okay what you don't know. Because what
Right.
you don't know, other people are going to help you build. But because I didn't heal from learning how to delegate, I'm
Mm.
like the prison sentence. I'm still on 20 something years. Now I'm
Mm.
like, okay, Lord, this person want to help me? Experience. I throw my hands up, right? Because
Right.
I've hit the bottom so many times, but I'm realizing the more I stay with other connected people, the
Yeah.
sharper I'm going to get. The
Yes.
sharper I'm going to get. So, like I said, it may turn into a sermon, but baby, whatever it is, it was meant to happen. This is an experience, and we're talking about being healed, but I think you can only be healed if you're honest.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. I go back to that passage over in John when Jesus is at the pool of Bethesda and he
Yes,
sees the lame man and he says, "Do you want to be made whole?" And the first thing that he comes out of his is the conditions of life and why things haven't happened for him. But you're talking to the one who is the reason why the angels even come and trouble the water in the first place. You're talking to the very one who has healing in his hand. Like what you doing? But it's being honest and saying, yes, I want to make a change.
yes,
Yes, I acknowledge that I need help.
yes,
Yes, I
yes.
cannot do all things by myself. I
Myself.
can only do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Yeah.
I am honored to do this and to sit with you because not only spiritually, but it sounds like you get it. But you can only get it if God has had you on the same path.
Oh,
You
girl.
understand what I'm saying? So I think it's your journey probably cost you something, right?
Yeah.
But if you didn't submit the payment, we wouldn't be sitting here.
Mm-mm.
So I think that's what that experience is all about. Why the experience is so important, because on the other side of that is somebody else. Somebody
Yes.
else is going to get you to the next journey. And something else that I learned too, Miss Camille, was I was thinking about Jesus on that boat and it
Mm.
was rocking, but they were
Mm-hmm.
still going fishing. They were still looking for snacks. You know, I'm vegan. So I'm like, oh my God, they were looking for fish. Oh God, I would have eaten that. Joking. And something in my spirit is starting to see that there's a whole lot of fish, but
Mhm.
Nita's so greedy and unhealed. She trying to take her one net by
Yeah.
herself
Hmm.
to go get this whole sea of fish. It
Right.
wasn't until I had an experience to
Hmm.
break me down, to remind me, yo, coach, you gonna need Camille, you gonna
Hmm.
need Amanda, you gonna need Pastor Gwen, you gonna
Yeah.
need community, you gonna need the city of Montclair in order to bring forth what I've already prepared for you to do anyway. But
Yeah.
the longer you try to go out to this sea by yourself, You only gonna get as much as you can fit in that net. Miss Camille, baby, I
Yes,
hope you
ma'am.
got that because it's time to go fishing.
Listen,
It's time
I'm listen.
to
I
fish.
when I tell you, I've always identified myself. I said, if there was a biblical individual who I connect the most with spiritually, good old Peter, because he said, "Nevertheless, at your word."
Nevertheless. Hmm.
Like that's actually been my theme for me.
Hmm.
Nevertheless, God, at your word.
Wow.
You're right. Being broken,
Yes. Do it, baby. Hmm.
but being broken by the one who made you is better.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
I'd rather take my car to
Hmm.
the dealer and have them dismantle, reassemble, and all those things because
Yes.
they made it.
Yes.
They know about it.
Yes, they do.
It's familiar, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
If
Hmm.
I allow myself, hallelujah, if I allow myself to render myself to the one who made me, not mama and daddy,
Hmm. Hmm.
not the circumstances of life, not the relationships, but if I surrender myself to the one who made me,
Hmm.
and I'm asking him, Lord, make me over, break me, show me, give
Yes.
me what it is that you would have me to do. I'm safer with him.
Yes.
And I when you mention about with the boxing and why you do it for the young people and those, especially those in the margins of life, and it's the in the low socioeconomic statuses that people often try to deem them to be.
Hmm.
I think so many times they've been conditioned to think
Hmm.
that they can only be rebuilt
Hmm.
by people that look like them or greater
It.
than them, quote
That's
unquote.
that's it.
But we can only be rebuilt, remade, refastened together by the one
Hmm.
who
Hmm.
sent us in the first place.
Hmm. I
So,
also look at it like this too. I have this saying that I always say: healed people heal people. But I
correct.
mainly say healed women heal women. And
Hmm.
I noticed if I didn't allow myself to go through this broken season, I got babies depending on me every day. So I would have had a pseudo healing just to
Right.
get you hype, just to get you going, just to pump you up and
Mhm.
still go home, toe up, broken, and unable to be very honest about my own journey. So in
Mhm.
this season of this experience, Miss Camille, I've learned that it's okay to keep it 100. It's
Yeah.
okay to be real about being broken. And I also realize it's the people who have it all together who are the most broken. And I'm
Hmm.
looking at this, I said, young people are not looking for perfection.
No.
They're
Authenticity.
looking for honesty and authenticity.
Hmm.
And they're
Hmm.
looking for a place to be themselves. And so I thought that, yes, I'm a therapist, and yes, I'm a trainer, and all these multifaceted things, but I'm just an
Hmm.
everyday woman who came probably from the same one of my kids here lives in the very same projects that I grew up in. He's only 16. And it's
Wow.
so funny because we spoke about this. And I said, go to the basketball court, which I ran, that was mine,
Hmm.
and go ask them about Nita. He came back in here running. He said, Coach, I thought you was telling the tale. He said, I thought you just made that up. He said, because you just look fancy. I said, baby, God cleans up the best things. And I
Yeah.
just started to tell them about my journey. I started to tell them about my brokenness. And I
Hmm.
think that's why I've been able to have the success that I've had because I've allowed myself just to be gracefully broken and just allow myself to promote for healing. And so as we're teaching this, and I teach this to not only the kids, as the parents are waiting for their kids, as the grandmothers are waiting for their kids, I have them walking.
Okay.
Them walking. We're not just gonna sit in the car and wait. So now you
Hmm.
got big mamas walking. You got
Good.
aunties walking. That's a form of healing to me. Because
Yeah.
if the baby starts, then the mama starts, and then the grandmother starts. But guess
Mhm.
what? It had to start with Coach Nita first.
Right. Right.
It
Right.
starts with me first. So this is why I keep saying this is an experience,
Hmm.
um, because I have seen some really low times, some really low places, but I've always had people that still believed in me. But if I wasn't broken, I wouldn't be able to receive this love. So I'm just allowing myself to go through this experience,
Hmm.
to learn something new. I've seen failure so many times to where I almost used to think my name was Nita Failure Watson.
Mm.
And I would have to, my grandma used to tell me, she said, Minnie, who sent you?
Come on.
I'd be crying. I said, who sent you?
Yeah,
She said, I am that I am. To this day, I have that tattooed on my hands.
that's right.
I am that I am. So I have to kind of keep remembering that as I'm going through this journey. I'm listening to you. And it's also reminding me that sometimes, especially Black women, we forget to give ourselves a pat on the back. We forget that it's okay to celebrate ourselves and say, girl, you had a season of L's. You had a
Yeah.
season of brokenness. And this next season, God's going to bring you an Amanda. He's going to bring you a Camille. He's going to bring you a Hey Sugar Studios. He's going to bring you a Be Healed web show. And these are the slow steps I have for you. So, like I said, I'm looking at this, I'm looking at the experience, but I think I'm learning too that it's okay to start over.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah. And who's to say that we're really starting over?
Right, right.
Like,
Right.
is that just something our finite
That's
understanding looks
it.
like it to be?
Mm-hmm.
Or did we just pick up where we need to be in the first place? Or did we just turn a page? Or did we
Mm-hmm.
just take a new step? I think sometimes we have limited ourselves in such a way as in holding ourselves to this impossible metric.
Mm-hmm.
And God is like, I know y'all are fallible.
Yes,
The
yes,
scripture
yes.
says he remembers us in our weaknesses. He knows our frame. He knows he knows us. So if he knows
Mm-hmm.
us and our conditions, our proclivities of life and of humanity, why
Yes.
do we continue to act as if we're supposed to be perfect?
Mm,
We're being perfected,
mm,
but we're not perfect. And I would always say, those who have accepted Jesus Christ, we who know who he is,
mm,
as believers, as those that are repping God through and through,
mhm,
and not just in words, but in actions and in lifestyle, right? When we acknowledge that, we shouldn't walk around in a place of righteous perfection because we already know that that's not real for us here. We're
right.
trying to get to that place.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it
Mm-hmm.
won't happen here on this side. It won't only happen in glory. And so
Yeah.
I think it's important for us to, like when you mentioned how your grandmother would ask you, who sent you. I think it's always important for us to remember who we are, but most importantly, remember whose we are.
Mm-hmm.
And so once I know that Camilla Arperi, I am she, but I am God's child
Yes.
above all else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It, it
Mm-hmm.
it should definitely shift the conversations.
Yes, it should. Yes. I appreciate you being honest. Thank you for that. Thank you.
I listen. I I have not always. First of all, I don't even now do everything. I listen. I will never do everything right.
No, no, not by.
Um, no, no, no. But I'm grateful to the one who gives us grace
Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm.
and gives us mercy when if justice was to be served, you would never have known me
Mm.
if justice was to been served. And I think that's something that, I want to talk to you a little bit about the boxing piece because I would imagine there's a immense amount of discipline that goes into that.
When you think boxing, people think, like I said, I was ready, right? We
Yeah.
do this. We've seen World Star, we've seen all these different things. But when it really takes to box, it takes courage.
Mm,
It takes courage and it takes confidence, not cockiness. It takes confidence
mm,
because A, In your head, you look amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And then you look in that mirror and you all humped over, your form's all crazy. Now you're windmilling. But the more you go, the more you keep yourself accountable, the more you study it, the easier it becomes. It's never going to be an easy sport, just like life. Life is never going to be easy. But the more you practice, the more you make things applicable, the more you try, the more you hold yourself accountable to other people, to other teammates. Like I told you, it took a 9-year-old to teach me how to jump rope. A 9-year-old. Miss Camille, December 19th, baby, I'll be 40 years old. So
Come
6 years
on.
ago,
Go ahead,
yeah,
Sagittarius. I see you.
thank you. 6 years ago, I was 34. So you mean to tell me a 9-year-old taught my 34-year-old behind how to jump rope? That broke me. And it also made me angry, right? Because I know how to do this. I should know how to do this. I'm 34 years old. Da, 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 da. This was me, gracefully broken. Allow yourself. And the more I did this sport, there's not a lot of female boxing club owners. It's rare.
Okay.
Then you have black. You check off all these other boxes. That's already a negative off bat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you a Pomonian, you know where the fish market is, right?
I do. I do.
Baby, I was right
Mhm.
next door for 7 years. That was my building.
Really?
Okay. A professional boxer came in, bought the fish market. You can't change the name because it's a historical
Okay.
business. And
Right.
then bought my building because they were owned by the same owner. You cannot beat commercial properties, 2 properties for $900,000. I get it.
Right.
But he had someone come and serve me. I was training with the kids and they came in and they said, hey. I said, y'all say hey, because that's what we do. And he said, need a Watson? I said, yeah, baby. He said, you've been served.
Is
I
it?
didn't know I start like dancing like the movie. Remember you got served? So
Right. Yeah.
and the boxer came in and he evicted us, kicked us out, and then moved his boxing club in. So me and these babies, mind you, that building we painted. We painted that. I was there for 7 years. We did that.
Mm-hmm.
We also had to be outside for a whole year.
Oh, okay.
We were at the park for a whole
Wow.
year. So you talking about somebody's faith, you talking
Mhm.
about having to really still trust God. Because you drop my name in Pomona, baby, everybody know who I am.
Yeah.
Everybody. But in that moment, August 31st, 2021, Miss Camille, God broke me all the way to hell down.
Yeah.
He had to remind me that, Nita, it's what's on the inside of you,
That's right.
not the
Yeah.
building. And I told you when you first started that you were bigger than this, but I had to break you down. So none of this can I make up. It's been a journey. That's why you said, what would you call this? Miss Camille, this has been a whole hell experience.
Yeah.
Because I can't call it more than what it is. And I
Yeah.
watched God in my head forget about me, but he didn't.
Right.
He was preparing me for something. And
That's
then they
right.
brought me to this. Mind you, I had you see how big that building was?
Yeah. That's a
This
huge.
new gym is 488 square feet. That face right there.
No
And
problem.
it took an Asian agent to bring me here, and I was mad. What the hell? I'm cussing. Do you know who I am? I had a
Right.
two-story building, and I could feel God like this.
Yeah.
And the agent said, it's not what you want, it's what you need. Miss Camille,
Yeah.
I could have slapped 5 from this man. You hear me? Like, are you kidding me? 3 weeks later, no lie, that agent dropped dead. 29 years old.
What?
After I signed the lease, he just dropped dead. Shout out to his family. Rest in peace. I feel like the Lord sent him to me as a test. I am not joking. I felt like he came to me because I had been denied from 67 different properties. Pomona
Gee.
had promised me over 24 properties. None of them followed through. He brought
Wow.
me all the way to Montclair, and I was mad. I'm a Pomona girl. I don't got no business being in Montclair. And he brought me to this little bitty closet. Your shoe closet is probably bigger than this.
No, it's not. I promise.
But you can't tell me God is not in here.
That's right.
So when we're talking about being healed, this ain't just no hype, Miss Camille. This has been my real
Your journey.
journey.
Yeah.
This has been my real experience because we just opened back up August 31st this
Hmm.
year. And I've watched God keep his hand on me. But I realized that I thought the hand, I was going to be able to feel it and caress it and be like, God, you still there? Ah, nigga, I know that's you. Shout out to God. I feel you still there. It was in those desolate moments where I was like, hey, yo, God, you there? Y'all seen God? And he just sitting back to see if I was going to be obedient. And I think throughout my obedience and taking this place, God brought me resources, A through Z. Anything I needed. God just started opening up the doors for me, even down to Amanda. I knew of Amanda 2 years ago, 3 years ago, but it wasn't until I got here. She was like, let's work. And in my head, I'm like, I've been doing this. Where you been, right? But I'm looking at, like you talked about the timeline. What was it, 22 years?
22 years for Joseph. Yeah.
And in my
Not
head,
it was 20 something for David before he actually stepped into the king role. He
that's
was
why he,
anointed.
how his brothers treated him. So you
I
add
mean,
more years to that. So I'm looking at this, and when people ask me different questions about this, I had to come from a place of being healed because I wouldn't have been able to share this story with you last year because I would have been in my bag. Camille, they took my building. They got me effed. I would have just been going through all of these emotions. But it
yeah.
wasn't until the Lord had to bridle my tongue, keep me
Mm-hmm.
quiet,
Mm-hmm.
and allow me just to go through this. And so when people see me now, it's like, girl, you did it. But I can say it was a but God thing. If it
Yeah.
wasn't but by the grace of God, because my mouth would have got me in so much. But I also believe too that sometimes we can be in a place of comfortability and God will uproot you.
Oh, of course.
I think
Of
that's what happened.
course. I
I think
mean,
that's what happened.
that's I mean, if we one thing that I can always say,
Uh-huh.
we like to find the pattern,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Somebody would like to find the pattern because our desire is to figure things out. We are all natural clue mythbusters. We want to, solve the case. We want to figure it out, right? But you cannot figure out God.
No.
He told Jeremiah, don't even try it. My ways ain't your ways. My thoughts are not your thoughts. So the best thing that you can do is just know that I am the God of all mankind and there's nothing too hard for me.
Mm-hmm.
He put some respect on my name
Mm-hmm.
and watch me do what I do. I can tell you right now where I'm at in my life, everything is what is it? Stay tuned to the next episode. That's really my mantra these past few months. Stay in tune to the next episode because I don't know what God's gonna do. But
Yes.
I'm tuned in, right? But
Yes.
when I think about what you're saying is because when you're saying about moving out of comfortability, that's what he told Abraham.
Mm.
He was Abram at the time. He said, "Leave your kinsmen, get from up out of here,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
go into the land that I tell you."
Say it, Miss Lady.
And so it's like, so sometimes, when it seems as though the mountains are crashing down and the waves are breaking against the storms of life and all
Yeah.
these things are going on, God is saying, but do you trust me in the middle of the storm? First of all, everything got to give way to whatever I say. So if I sent it, is because I know you can handle it. If I allowed it, is because I have a plan for it. And he always promises glory after this. So you might have your 435 right now. You might have what you call a shoebox right now. But
Hmm.
honey,
Hmm.
little is much when it's placed in the master's hand. God can do more. What did he tell Gideon? You got too many men. I don't need all that. Because if I allow you to get the victory with all these men, they're gonna think it wasn't me. You just need 300.
Where is the collection plate? Let's go ahead and pass it. This is Connie.
You can
Connie.
you can PayPal Givelify to be here. So,
Connie.
but that's what we have. Like God gave me a message a couple months ago before the women's conference, and I preached out of Judges 6 because God told me, Camille, it ain't in the numbers. You are so concerned about trying to hit a metric, but I'm not a metric moving God. That doesn't move me.
That's it. That's it, Miss Lady. That's
He
it.
told me I'm the same God that will leave the 99 for one. So don't talk to me about metrics. So again, we got to stop trying to operate God like a business and step out and let God, you have your way in this business.
Yes.
That you
Yes.
be glorified. Because at the end of the day, we just want God to be glorified. He said, if I be lifted up,
Mm-hmm.
I'll
Mm-hmm.
draw
Mm-hmm.
all men unto me. Just make sure you praise me. Just focus your attention on me and watch me do what I do.
Miss
So
Camille, let me
yeah.
tell you something. You on to something. It ain't even on. In this small space, this was the size of our snack room that I would serve my kids out of. I
Wow.
packed lunch every day. I fed my kids. I made sure that they had snacks, everything you could imagine. When we got here, I said, y'all, how we gonna do this? They said, boss lady, we got it. Don't worry about it. I said, y'all, I can't do this. They said, boss lady, we got it. They said, it's bigger than what we thought. And these is kids. These is 20-year-olds. So this is me. Okay. I think the Lord was watching me to see what example I was going to be to these young people.
In the
And
middle.
not by living
Yeah.
right, being saved, but by my faith.
Yeah.
Because everybody knows Coach Nita is a believer. I'm not
Mm.
perfect, but I'm a
No.
believer. When we cleaning up at night, we wiping this place down. Never would have made it. And they like, we
Is
already
that the
know.
trap version? You doing the trap version?
Yeah, and the real one. And I just
Okay,
would
okay.
I used to anoint and pray over my kids. They would be in the backyard. I would just go touch their shoulder. God keep them. God keep them. And so I realized that I took care of a whole block and I had all these things, but I'm realizing what you just said.
Mhm.
That was too much. Not that I couldn't handle it, but I'm also learning in this season, Nita, everybody can't go.
Mhm.
And it's not a bad thing, it's just a God thing. In
That's it.
this upcoming season, everybody can't go with you.
Mhm.
And I pray, I say, God, bring me the right people.
Mhm.
Allow me to have the grace to receive these people because I know my mouth, I know me. But
Mhm.
God, when you do it, if you remove the wrong people, allow me to receive it with grace.
Yeah.
Because in our hearts, we might think that this person is with us, this team is with us, and God is like this. So when those rapports and those relationships break apart, it devastates us. But I
Yeah.
had to realize that this is my ministry. I'm not on a
Mhm.
pulpit, I'm not in a church, I'm in a boxing club. But at the
Right.
same time, I got a family of 6 that live in apartments. All of them walk over here.
Mhm.
There's nothing but transients and drunks over here. I'm next to a liquor store. Let me tell you how God is. I was in a standalone building. I was that girl in Pomona until I came to a strip mall and nobody knew who I was. People
Right.
kept saying, what is that? Oh my God, this is me. You don't know who the hell I am? They didn't tell you. Wooty, wooty, whoop. And God is like, no,
Right.
you're right. They don't know who you are because this
Right.
is Nita 2.0. This
Yeah.
is the healed Nita. This is the be healed Nita. This is the
Mhm.
gracefully broken Nita. This is the Nita that's on the experience that can go back and tell Camille, girl, let me tell you. Girl, let me tell you. So I am grateful that you are not only listening to God, but you're making his word applicable by following through because sometimes he will give us a word. We'll be like, that wasn't God. That wasn't God. He didn't tell that man to come by my building and kick us out. He didn't say that. He didn't. God, you know I trained the mayor, his wife. You know I
Right.
trained the mayor, his wife, and all their kids. You know I trained the vice. You know I trained everybody on the city council. You know I trained every business owner on the
Mhm.
block for free. So that way they can stay in business and promote for self-care. No, God, you didn't do that. This is him.
Yeah.
Keep the party going.
Right. You're like, yes, I did.
So I am grateful that you were able to share your experience and from a place of healing because it's inspiring. It also encourages me that, Nita, it wasn't just you. You ever
Oh
see
no.
like the student get in trouble and you like, and then both of y'all get in trouble, so she get a whooping and you get a whooping. You like, I didn't even do nothing. So when I
Yeah.
found out I got a whooping, you got a whooping too, I'm like, big.
Right. Like high five.
It ain't just me. It's Miss Camille too. Oh, it's
Yeah.
John too. Oh, it's Sally too. So I'm
Yeah.
not the only one. God, I
Mhm.
thank you for picking me. I
Yeah.
thank you for choosing me to be broken. God, I thank you for breaking me because I wouldn't have known what I was made of. I told them
Mhm.
yesterday, the city came and cut the ribbon with us yesterday, Miss Camille. They
Yeah.
brought state assembly officials. They brought anybody that was somebody. I was on the block at Pomona for 7 years and never had that. And that man told me, he said, I'm responsible why the Montclair Mall is there. He said, that's mine. He
Mm.
said, call me. And I just said, okay. Gracefully broken.
Yeah.
Whereas Anita before would have been like, I don't need nobody. I got this. You know how
Yeah.
we are.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful that you're using your platform, not just for the hype, because anybody can make a podcast. That's cute. Yay, she has a podcast. But the fact that you're saying, Nita, I too was actually broken. And this is how I came to do this. So I am so very grateful for your obedience. I'm happy you got a whooping too,
Yeah.
that it wasn't just me. But I'm happy that you took that and didn't personalize God whooping your behind and put your gift on the shelf. So I'm so grateful for that. So thank you.
Listen, whoopings and still getting whoopings, right? Um,
Yes.
but I will tell you, sis, that just even as you were talking, I was hearing so much, and I'm like,
Mhm.
when God, when He causes the reduction to happen, He's letting you know that the victory is in Him,
Mm.
right? And you don't need the square footage for validation. You don't need the accessibility of no, no, no. All you need is like that little young lad that had 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread,
Mhm. Mhm.
but he gave it to the one who gave thanks to the Father and
Yes.
fed multitudes.
Say it. I hear you.
So
Mhm.
I'm learning to take this in for myself.
Yes.
It's beautiful to see the Tabitha Browns and the
Mhm.
various ones, growing and flowing in a
Mhm.
space where they have buildings and apps and all those great things. That's
Mhm.
beautiful.
Mhm.
But we
Mhm.
don't know what the cost
The
took.
cost of it. Yes. Keep it 100, Miss Lady.
Right?
Yes.
And so when we understand, like so many times people want, there's so
Mhm.
many cliches that are going around, all you see is my glory, you don't know my story. And if we really unpack that,
Mhm.
when the what did the scripture say over in Exodus, that there rose a Pharaoh that did not know Joseph.
Wow.
So you had a situation where all these millions of people, or hundreds of thousands, and later would
Mhm.
become millions of people, were
Mhm.
in Egypt
Mhm. Mhm.
working and slaving away, and they would talk about this great man, the Hebrew man, the Israelite that served the king, that served the Pharaoh, that was the
Mhm.
governor over this place, and his name was Joseph, and he was Jacob's boy, and all these things, right?
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
But there came a time where life kept happening, and
Mhm.
they didn't know who Joseph was. And there's going to come a time in all of our lives
Yes.
where somebody's going to rise up, someone's going to be placed over, and they might not know who we are.
Mhm.
And that's okay.
Mhm.
Because at the end of the day, we need to always know who God is.
Say it. Yes.
Joseph
Yes.
wasn't the source. Moses wasn't the source. All these great people that we see, Esther, Deborah, all these great individuals we see in the Word of God, they weren't the source.
No.
They were a vessel being used by the source. So,
Yes.
Camille Rochelle, I'm just a vessel.
Mhm. Mhm.
And it's so funny to me because I struggle so many times, and we can talk about this with regard to Amanda being our brand manager, but put this stuff. I'm like, who wants to listen to me? You know how long her and Gwen both would kept telling me to do a podcast, and I was like, no, 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 nobody. But when I stepped out on faith in obedience,
Mhm.
following what God was saying, do it here, do it this, do that,
Mhm.
and all this platform is for the glory and honor of His name.
Wow.
Because at
Wow.
the end of the day, Nita, we you and I both know.
Mm-hmm.
Only the works we do for him,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
only what we do for Christ, that's what's going to count in the end. So I'm grateful for the favor, Psalms 5 and 12, that surrounds you like a shield.
Yes,
I'm grateful that even though, yes, you felt the burden, the sting, the pinch, the discomfort, you name it, of what happened, but down in your soul, something is telling you greater is coming. Because he said, after you suffered a while, he will establish us,
mm-hmm.
place our feet on solid, and he'll move us in the place where he has us. So we just got to get from the suffering a while
Mm-hmm.
to where the glory will reign.
That's that experience.
It is. And it's ain't it a good experience to just to know that God is using you. Like you said, you're thankful that God chose you.
I really am.
He entrusted this, the
Mm-hmm.
souls that he has placed in your periphery,
Mm-hmm.
for you to be a shepherd for them.
Mm-hmm. Miss
Girl,
Camille,
it's an honor.
I have trained over 12,000 people since doing this program. And at one moment, I was at USC and I did a workshop for over 2,000 athletes.
Wow.
And I try to contain my emotions when I share this because I watched God use me. And people, like outside of this, Miss Amanda will tell you, I'm an introvert. I don't like,
Really?
I don't, I'm very shy. I'm very closed off. Um, and my grandma says because a lot of your glory goes out of you.
Mm,
So God has to quiet you so he can refill you.
mm,
And I watched that workshop. I'm running here, I'm running there. Yeah, buddy, ah, boxing, let's go, let's go. But I also turned around and I looked. I took 89 black and brown young kids on a college campus and they helped me teach that. We didn't have all the resources. It
mm,
took 13 cars and trucks for us to get everybody there. But when I tell you, Miss Camille, they still talk about that workshop. They still talk about it. So I realize it's the quality,
mm-hmm.
not the
Not the
quantity.
quantity. Yeah.
So when you were talking about the different platforms of all these other people, I'm looking at you and I'm like, you too are on your way. But I also look at it and I look at the reflection of the iron. I see myself and I say, that look good on you. That's because it's shining out of you. So like I said, if you was still a dull butter knife, we couldn't have this conversation. It'd be nothing for us to talk about. And I that just circles me back to healed women, heal women.
Yes.
Healed people, heal people. But sometimes we can get healed and be greedy and be selfish.
Mm-hmm.
And
And don't want to tell nobody.
I
Mm-hmm.
want to give every part of me to young people. And I try to live my life by example. And I
Mm-hmm.
try to let them see my broken time so that way they could see, yeah, I've seen Coach broken. I've seen Coach cry. I've seen Coach homeless. I've seen Coach lose house. I've seen Coach pack up in the gym and sleep in the gym, and we don't go upstairs to the weight room because Coach's stuff is upstairs, and we respect that that's her private space. But we know that God is going to make it happen because we've watched her trust
Yeah.
this entire time.
Yeah.
So we go from outside to the small space, but my babies come back and tell me about God. And these are the kids who don't know nothing about God, but because I've stood strong and I haven't
Yeah.
wavered, they know who God is.
That's it. Letting your light shine, baby. That's it.
That's what you're doing. That's what this is all about. And I think that's what being healed is all about is
Absolutely.
can I heal enough to show you? Can I heal enough so you can see it? Or am
Mhm.
I going to be hoard my healing and go, look at me. This is
Mhm.
where I used to be. My grandma used to say, that's on Euston Street. I'm on Right Now Boulevard. And I used to be like, ugh, make me so mad with these slogans. Ugh. But she was right. Don't tell me about what to do. So, like you said, you hit something so dope and so profound. You said, you're going to go in places and people won't even know you. That used to piss me off when I got over here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know who I am? You don't know me. They're like, a white woman came in here and she said, I've seen that logo somewhere. The unhealed Nita would have been like, well, duh, duh, that's who I am, right? The new Nita goes, oh, ma'am, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Here's a flyer, here's a card. That's that
Right.
experience. So with
Yeah.
God closing it down and doing all of that, I never thought that that would happen. Never in a million years. But it wasn't until I was packing up my car, I had boxing equipment in my car, taking it to the park. But the Holy Spirit had to remind me, Nita, before you bought the gym, that's where you started.
That's
It was
it.
at the park.
That's
So
it.
I took you back to your starting point just to
Mm-hmm.
see what you was going to do with it. So I'm listening to you and I said, I don't know if you did this podcast on purpose, but whatever it is, it's bringing light to why healing is so important. Because it's not for us, Miss Camille. It's,
No,
do I have enough healing in me to go back and get them babies? Do I
that's it.
have enough in me to instill it into them babies so they can be healed enough to take it home? So every month, these youth learn a new diagnosis. I've been doing it for 7 years. So I'll teach a new diagnosis. Every month has a different theme. And then we will correlate different workouts and routines that will help reduce symptomologies of such, right?
That's
So
good.
September was ADHD,
Okay.
October was depression, and we hit it on so many different platforms and spectrums. I was talking about depression last month from a family perspective, from a generational perspective. So on our big screen, I taught my kids how to do genograms, right?
Wow.
And I'm talking about that. That's family tree. I said, what we gonna do is we gonna talk about your big mama, we gonna talk about your uncle, but we gonna talk about why you ain't nothing. So we're not gonna sit up here and project yesterday's trauma. Oh, that's because my dad died. That's because my mom was in prison. This mean, tell me something we don't know. So
Mm-hmm.
every month they learn something. This month we're talking about ADHD. And then I break down the symptomologies. And then on Fridays, Miss Camille, every Friday they complete these things. It's called a self-care report card. And
Good.
it's an underlying way of introducing them to SMART goals and why creating a list and scratching it off enhances your confidence and it enhances your ability to take care of yourself. So on Fridays, it's Freestyle Fresh Fridays. Let's say
Okay.
that. And the kids, they're in uniform all week, right? So this is the time where they can come in and get fresh cuts. So I take pictures of their hair. I take pictures of their outfits.
Mm-hmm.
I promote for self-care and fashion because it's healing.
Right.
And then they get to work. I've had kids even come in evening gowns, look like prom dresses, because they're excited just to show their self-care. And then they write out what their workout of the day is going to be. And as they progress and they're finishing their workout, each station, they'll come back and cross it off.
That's
That's
good.
what SMART goals is. You make it sensitive, you make it measurable, you make it attainable, you make it, where it makes sense to you. So
Yeah.
every month they learn this. So not only are they learning boxing, not only are they learning how to compete and what it takes to compete, but they're also getting psychoeducated on why mental health is a thing and how a resource is going to help reduce this. But actually, how can I heal myself so I can
Yeah.
go back and go get my family?
Yeah. Listen, I love that. Like I'm thinking so many different other youths I would love to
I
um,
appreciate it.
have them come. And so I'm going to refer your information over
I
to their
appreciate
parents because, and even for their parents as well, I'm thinking about like, okay, let's see how we can do like a women's empowerment portion for Be Healed, or, even do like a all people event for Be Healed and learn some boxing, some psycho
yeah,
boxing skills,
yeah.
to really focus in, to hone in those skills. That would be great, especially for I call them my silver sneaker groups,
Oh,
my
I can't wait to contract with them next year. Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
that would be
Please
super super good to do something with that as well.
we
And
have
so
seniors as well, and I would give them and my foster probation youth a discounted rate because I used to
okay.
work in group homes as a therapist, and I would do all the activities, and I'd be like, "So we just gonna sit here all day? This is what we gonna do?" This
Yeah.
is early in my career. And so to this day, I still have connections with group homes and with
Good.
foster homes, and I bring them in. And right now, with me being in this new city, a lot of these kids are new to me. A lot of these kids don't know me, but you'll be surprised as how open and willing these kids are. And sometimes I just feel like not a bad thing, but I feel like God sometimes takes us out of environments, puts us into new ones, just so people can appreciate Camille. Because you
Yeah.
probably were doing a lot at
Mhm.
ABC, but
Mhm.
everybody's like, oh, that's just Camille. That's just Camille. And then you do something over here, and I'm like, that's
Oh
Camille.
my God. Right.
Right. I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
God. These kids and these families are excited. Not that Pomona wasn't, but y'all had Coach Nita for 6, 7 years. So it was, if we ain't got food, we know Coach got us. We know if we ain't got no gas, Coach got us. You know how many sob stories I've heard? You know how many people came in there from the fish market with boxes in their hand? Baby, I got 2, 3 grandbabies. Can you cut me a deal? No, lady, with your shrimp box? No, ma'am. Shrimp ain't cheap. And you don't have tilapia. You got sand dad? No. Run me my money. So I also think too,
Ooh.
accountability and paying for services is a form of healing.
Yeah.
Paying for things is a form of healing, and it's also a form of appreciation. Because we always say this: if my hands can close to receive,
Mm-hmm.
my hands can open to give.
Yeah.
If I keep finding myself, Camille, help me. Amanda, help me. Pastor Gwen, help me. City Montclair, help me. This is me. Miss Camille, what can I do for you?
Right.
Amanda, what can I do for you?
That's
Miss
good.
Gwen, what can I do for you? And I think that's where God comes in and say, okay, she's ready. He's ready. Because not only have I broken them, God has taken anything that was something from me.
Yeah.
And this is me. Just please let me know when you're done. He like, wait, you like her? I'm gonna take her too. Oh,
Yeah.
your grandmother's been your rock. I'm gonna take her too.
Yeah.
Oh, your daddy got locked up again? I'm gonna take him too. What you gonna
Yeah.
do? So now I'm sitting back like, okay, God, I'm in this 488 square feet. But the vibe and the training that goes on in this place, Miss Camille, you would think it was 24,000 square feet.
And that's what it shall be one day.
That's what it's gonna be. But by the time he bring that baby, I had prepared myself to receive. He couldn't have gave it to me before. Because he wouldn't
No.
have been able to tell me nothing. I've
And he
been
knows.
calling on
Yeah.
my podcast. Camille,
Right.
pull up one time into my studio because I got all the stuff.
Yeah.
Now I told the kids, go get that sandbag so we can prop this backdrop up so it won't fall, so Camille won't see these kids walk inside. Because if I drop this backdrop, only thing you gonna see is y'all better not come over here. You gonna see nothing but thugs. I said, I'm not putting y'all on this church channel today. It was already in the backlight. And I said, you're not doing that to Miss Camille. So I think now God has given me an opportunity to start over, but to make sure that I'm healed enough to start over. Because a lot of these kids didn't even know where I came from. They thought we just opened.
Right.
They were like, oh, you're a boxing trainer? The old Nito, they'd be like, you don't know who I am? Now it's
Yeah.
like, yeah. I started off with one kid, then two. You put 5 people in here, it feel like we had a tent revival. It's so tight in here, but it's so much love. There's so much
Yeah.
God. There's so much vibe in here. And I will say this, I have learned to be faithful over little.
Yes.
Because this has challenged my very existence. Especially when they told me the agent died. This was me. So, nigga, you mean to tell me you just dropped dead and left me in here? What was, and it took his wife to tell me. I sent him an invite to our soft grand opening.
Wow.
And she texted me back and she said, unfortunately, John won't be able to make it. But I thought it was like, some
Yeah,
ex-wife
he's
thing.
busy. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, who is this? And she said, John passed away suddenly 3 weeks ago. Miss Camille, I did this.
Mm.
I could do it. I thought it was a joke.
Mm.
And I said, God, you sent that beautiful soul to test
Mm-hmm.
me to see what I was going to do. Was I going to turn my nose up and say, I'm too healed to be in this little space? And
Right.
he took me off. When I walked in, that was it. That was
You know.
it.
Mm-hmm.
No, that was all the space there was. He said, come on in. I said, nigga, where's the rest? I said, is there upstairs that I don't know about? Is there a back door? He said, that's it. And this was me. I could have slapped fire from that man. But now I look at it a few months later. I said, God, I would have been able to make the relationships and the impact that I've made because I would have been too big. And too
Yeah.
big in Pomona would have been good for me. So like I said, being healed is important. Being broken is important. But making sure that I had, listened to other people who have been healed.
Yes.
And allow myself to listen to your story and go, man, you too, Camille, you too.
That's it. We all on this journey together.
Yes.
How can, because we've been talking about this, how can folks get to the self-care lab?
Now, if you're driving fast, you're going to miss it, Miss Camille. Don't be playing
I'm
with
not
me.
I'm not doing this with you today. I'm not doing this with you, okay?
When the people came out to cut the ribbon with us yesterday, my daddy said, I don't see nothing. I said, don't play me. Don't come for me. I said, I gave you the landmarks next to a barber shop and a liquor store. He said, oh. So when I tell people that, they go, and then the signage outside of this building used to be a rehab place. That face right there. That face right there, next to a liquor store. You see how God is setting me up? If they want to find us, we are located at 672 Central Avenue in the beautiful new city of Montclair. Our website is theselfcarelab.com. You can find us on all the social media platforms under the Self-Care Lab too. So I look at this as a, Nita, you wanted 7 of these. You're going to get 7. I've always told people I want 7 of these gems, number of completion. But I want them in places like this, desolate, broken places, so we can change the game. So like I said, you can find us on all the social media platforms. We just started a new YouTube page. We just got a new website. Follow us, support us. Our program is broken down into so many different levels. We have the boxing, we have the running group, which they run 5 miles every Thursday. So some of them just finished and some of them are still running. And we do clinical work here. So we have psychoeducational trainings. And then in January, whatever the youth are learning here, we're going to be teaching these in a workshop for the parents once a month.
Wow. Okay.
Thank you.
This is good. This is good. I'm trying to put everything in here. Let me know if this looks right because I address 962. Okay. Perfect. And then they can follow you on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube at the Self-Care Lab.
Yes.
Well, listen here, Miss Nita. This has been a great way to kick off season 4 of the Be Healed Web Show. This is an amazing way for us to even kick off the month of December and move us into this new place. And we only have a few days left in 2022. And I'm just holding on even the more to the Lord, and not for what he will do for us, because he's already done enough. But I'm holding on in appreciation, in gratitude, in sincere love and affection and devotion to saying, God, I trust you with every area of my life. Yes. And I know that you have great things in store for us to complete for you, for the kingdom, for your glory, God. However you want us to be used by you, God, we're willing.
Yes.
Yeah, we give you our yes, Lord. So listen, thank you all for tuning in. This has been an amazing episode. Listen, I'm grateful to God for all he's done. I will definitely be learning and tightening up my skills when it comes down to the boxing, because I'll be stopping over at the Self-Care Lab, and this is not the last time you'll see me or hear from me, ma'am.
Yes, I appreciate that. Yes.
Absolutely. Well, until next time, you all be blessed. Thank you so much again for tuning in to the Be Healed Web Show. And if the Lord allows us to gather again, we will be here the same time, Tuesday night, 7 p.m. here on Facebook Live, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitch, Twitter, and also on Spotify. Take care. God bless.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.